I also want to make sure that you know how to use your graphing calculator. Can you please graph this with the same window, with the same scale? Let me see. What's your minimum? It should be there. Is that right? I'd like it to follow exactly the same. So what is our x minimum? Our x minimum? -7. X maximum? What is our scale? 1. Very good. Let's take a look at the y. What is our lowest y? -300. What is our maximum y? Are you sure it's 1400? So we always want it a little bit above the highest. Okay? So 1500. What is our scale? Very good. What is our y-intercept? 1200. All right. We're going to analyze the y-intercept. Okay? Now, one of the questions in your midterm exam is analyze the y-intercept. Someone said, oh, so the answer is 2000 because I can see it's 2000. So, well, that's the answer of someone explaining it. So you have to make sure you say you can actually use the graph because that's the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. That's one explanation. Another explanation is you say that's the y value when x is 0. Are we clear? So make sure not to forget explaining those variables, all right? Those constants, okay? Because on the final exam, you're going to do exactly the same thing. So with that, let's graph. Is that your graph?
Yes.
There you go. All right? Okay. According to this one, we're going to describe the graph. Describe the shape of the graph. How is it different than the shape of a linear function? This one is a parabola. It's a parabola. All right? That opens downward. So the question is, how is it different from the shape of the graph of a linear function? It's not a straight line. Is that right? Okay. How is it different from an exponential function? An exponential function is only one-sided curve. Is that right? This one is a full curve with an axis of symmetry. Is that right? Okay. Are we clear with question number 1? Okay. Let's move to the second part. What does the graph tell you about what happens as the price raised? So let's analyze, everyone. What I'm going to do here is so we can see it clearly. I'll just be using a different color for the y-axis so I can see clearly. Is that good enough? Can you see it clearly? Yeah. Can you see the y-intercept? So in this case, what does the graph tell you about what happens as the price is raised? First, at the y-axis, did we raise the price? Yes or no? No. So we did not. Is that right? So when we go to 1, we have an additional $1. Is that right? Mm-hmm. At 2 or at 3, that means we kept increasing the price. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Now look at that one. As you move on, somewhere here, we have the maximum revenue. Is that right? Yeah. We have the maximum revenue. However, after that, what happened? You kept increasing the price. What's happening to your revenue? Well, it's going to go down. This is actually the model that is being used in marketing. You might be wondering, how much is an iPhone now? Let's say XR. It's pretty expensive, is that right? You might be wondering, more people will be buying it, but there would come a time when people are not going to buy it anymore because it's so expensive. That's what's happening here. At that particular point, that means you don't want to increase anymore the price, because what's going to happen, your revenue will go down. Is that right? Okay. So are we clear with our explanation for number 2? So there will be a point in time wherein you have to, what does the graph tell us about as the price is raised? So we say revenue increases at a certain point. And then will decrease after that. So the revenue increases at a certain point, and then will decrease after that. Does that make sense? Can we see that clearly on the graph? All right, okay. Next, we're going to use the given information above to find the current weekend revenue. What point on the graph represents? Take note of this one. Current. Which one would that be?
1,200?
Very good, it's 1,200. What do we call that?
The y-intercept?
That's a y-intercept.
So current means y.
Revenue. So our variable is a revenue. This is at the current stage, or this is the initial value. All right. Okay. Y-intercept. So what point on the graph represent this information? How can we verify using the equation? This is when x is equal to 0, so we say there is no price increase. Are we clear so far with the analysis for number 3? Okay. You're going to mark the graph and estimate the value of the x-intercept on the left of the graph, all right? So what we're going to do, these are multiple questions. Can you please mark this point and label this as number 3? Because we're going to have multiple points on the graph. So number 4, we're going to estimate that one. So that's number 4. All right, so let's analyze this one. Is that x-intercept positive or negative? Negative. So it's -6. What did we actually do with the price? Did we increase it or did we decrease it? Decrease it. By how much? $6. All right. So that x-intercept here tells us that we actually decreased the price by $6. And when we decrease that by $6, what happened to our revenue? Nothing. Nothing. So our revenue is now 0. That means there could be so many people who bought it, and you're eventually going to no more profit. You're going to lose money. Is that right? So this is just to analyze this one. As you decrease the price beyond $6,
You're not making the money.
So close the business. Because you're not operating for a profit. Because businesses, why are they there? For a profit. Okay? So in that case. Clear? Yeah. With that -6? Alright. So, that's number 4. What does this point? So, our x-intercept. Can you please write that down, the value of the x-intercept? Write it down. X is equal to -6. Tells us decrease the price for $6. Right? Let's move to the next page. You're going to mark the graph and estimate the x-intercept on the right. Alright, so we're going to label that number 5. What is that approximately? 13 point, roughly, do you want, say, 3 or 2? Alright, okay, so x is about 13.3. And what's the meaning of that one?
No problem if you raise it above 13.
Yeah, so your revenue will be approximately 0. Okay. Now this one is basically using the scale. So what's our x min? -7. X max would be 15. Scale? Y min? Alright. Y max?
15.
And our scale? 100. Now we're going to use our graphing calculator to find the precise x values. Alright? What value does in question from question number 5? Alright? So everyone, ready? Go to your graph. We're going to compute for this one. Alright? What do we call that point? On the graph, using the graphing calculator. 0. Very good. So how do we do that? Second, trace and then 0, number 2. So just a little above that one, left bound to the right. And there twice. What did we get? 13.33. Is that somewhat close to our estimate in number 5? How close?
Almost spot on.
Yeah, pretty close. Because it's beautiful, so we say pretty. Pretty close, okay. You're going to find another point on the graph that shares the same y-intercept. Okay? Get ready with the ruler, everyone. Alright, so we're going to go back here. What you're going to do is draw a horizontal line. Alright, and then you're going to mark that point. Alright. What is that number? 1200. Alright. Find another point on the graph that shares the same y-intercept. Okay? And we're going to estimate the x value. Can you please estimate it? About what?
7.3.
7.3. Alright, okay, so x is about 7.3. What is the meaning of that one? In the context of the problem?
You can increase it.
If you increase the price by $7.3, then your weekend revenue would be
The same.
1,200. All right? Okay. So we're going to use the word 1,200 in that case. All right? If Any questions so far for number 7A? Okay. We're moving now to letter D. Now, everyone, go to your y equal to. We're solving using the graphing calculator. Okay? You're going to enter. Remember, I asked you to draw a horizontal line. Do not forget that on the final exam. Alright? You're going to draw, you're going to be asked. You're going to use your graphing calculator to find the x value of the intersection, which is pretty much the same thing as what we've been doing. So graph it. So how do we find the x value of this point? What do we call that? Intersection. Very good. So second trace, and then number 5, and make your point a little bit closer there. A little bit closer there. And press enter how many times? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. What is our value? 7.33. Alright, okay, so here we get x is about 7.33, and again, pretty close. Any questions for letter B? Alright, next, we're going to mark the graph and estimate the highest point called the vertex. Alright, I'd like you to estimate it. So we're going to have the coordinates for our vertex. Alright, so our vertex, I'll be using the letter V for vertex. Around 3.7, maybe? 3 point? By the way, it's just an estimate. Whether you put 3.5, 3.4, 3.6, 3.7, I'll just put 3.7. And then roughly around 1400. Roughly around 1400. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. 1400. Now, what does that tell us? What does that tell us?
That if you increase it by $3.07, you make the most money. You get 1,400.
So you get 1400. Very good. Okay. Alright? And then you're going to use your calculator. You're going to use your calculator and find that. So, calculator, let's use 2 decimal places. I got 3.67. And then I also get 1401.67. And again, pretty close.
Why'd you do that thing?
Find, alright, okay. So, everyone,
0?
press graph first. We're looking for a maximum, right?
Yeah.
So, second trace, maximum. Alright? So, left bound, left of the highest point. Right bound, right of the highest point. And then enter twice. Alright, can you please try it first, calculator, everyone? Right, about 3.67 and then 1401.67. All right, there you go. So, any question? So we're done with that. So it's now group activity. Now make sure when you have a question that is being asked, multiple questions, and you have to refer to the graph, just label those points. So this is GR3, U3, A1. Before you start with this one, everyone, I gave you several papers, I gave you these properties of parabolas. Is that right?
Yeah.
You might want to practice on that, except for the graphic. Cross out the graphic part. And then I also gave this to you. We're going to do applications tomorrow. Alright, word problems, applications. Alright? So with that, you may begin with your group activity. If you finish early, then you may leave early. Alright? Yes. Hold it. What are you doing? Oh, hold it. Which one are you computing? Are you computing for that one? For that one? For that one? Hold it. Just answer. Alright. So that's an x-intercept. That means it's a 0. Second trace, and then number 2. It's going to ask you left bound. You'll notice right now it's an x equal to 4. X is equal to 4 is here. So move it here until you see a negative number. See, it's moving. Until you don't see that clearly here, but this one will tell you. Keep going. Some more negative. There you go. More negative. All right? Press enter. Now it's going to ask you right. Right is above it. Is that already above? Press enter. It's like this. I will illustrate it.
Second trace. There you go.
Second trace, yeah.
Okay.
It's like this. So when you're computing for a point on here, just make your cursor somewhere here. That's your left. When it's asking for the right, somewhere here. It doesn't matter.
So that would be the 0 what I was looking for here.
This is a
So
0.
if I'm looking for the value, it will be 1.
Oh, hold on, no. We did not do any value. We only
No, I was
computed
just trying
minimum or
to
maximum.
figure in general. How do you-
Because you're putting together a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So that's
I don't
where I
want you doing that
myself
first.
confused. Okay.
Now, you're looking for an intercept. You're looking for that one. So, left and right. 5. Move it a little bit there. Press enter 3 times. Press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And you should have that. Alright. Got it?
And 0.
So don't do the value. Don't do the value.
Don't worry about the value.
Well, the value is just substitution. When x is equal to 1, plug it in your equation. 0 and intercept. Okay. And then go back. Remember your packet. At the back there is a calculator appendix.